Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks. Welcoming in also Radio QDX out of Lucama, North Carolina, and courtesy of KCHF TV 11 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Welcome to the show, and we welcome in Aaron Too Tall More. What's up, Aaron?
I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Got a lot to talk about today. Hopefully, we'll be joined by Antoine A.S. Stewart a little bit later on. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a 49er fan, so you can understand. And also, we expect nephew Caleb Lopez as well to join us. Jorani Mayanja from Uganda watching the show. Thanks for being a part of the show. We want to jump right in, Aaron, and look at the game's results from week 16 in the NFL. And there were some interesting results, one of which was on Thursday night last week, the Rams 30-22 over the Saints. And I don't know about you, but I think the 49ers might want to be looking over their shoulder right now at the oncoming LA Rams. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe that too. Sean McVay got them playing right now. And I believe it's because of their running game. He's getting that running game going.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be a scary team. So they're not gonna be a pushover if they're able to get up in the playoffs.
They're gonna be a very scary team. And the way the 49ers looked this past weekend, they better be matter of fact, gotta be frightened.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to talk about the 49ers a little bit later. The Steelers 34-11 over Cincinnati. Some people, even ex-Steelers, started calling for Mike Tomlin's job. What say you on that, Aaron?
I think that's crazy. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season in 17 years he's been there, 18 years he's been there, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just Mike Tomlin is one of the greatest coaches of all time in my mind. He's going down in the Hall of Fame when he calls it a career, and he got him playing. He got the Steelers playing. I hope they get rid of him so he can come to Washington, but I don't think that's going to happen. But
no. The Steel City's not let Mike go anywhere. Yeah, you could bank on that. I think. But they may have found a guy under center that can kind of get them going. And then, at the end of and we're going to talk more about that a little bit later on. I think the biggest surprise in this one was what we thought were the oncoming Cincinnati Bengals. They were destroyed at home. This was in Cincinnati, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's Cincinnati. Wherever they played, they could have played it at the Washington Monument. They got destroyed. So I'm like, wow, okay. Buffalo in a double header on Saturday over the Chargers, 24-22. The Falcons destroyed the Colts 29-10. Seattle 20-17 over Tennessee. One of the weird things about the Titans is you just wonder when the real Tennessee Titans are going to stand up. And lately, they don't stand up very often. They go down in that one, and it was in Tennessee. The Lions 30-24 over the Vikings. And last report I heard is the Vikings now are going to change quarterbacks and go from Nick Mullins to Jaron Hall, who was the original backup, got hurt. And they brought Dobbs in. They put Dobbs on the bench. Now Mullins is on the bench. Will they get any answers out of Hall, Aaron?
No. Not consistent answers.
Yeah.
It's a quarterback carousel. And I knew this was going to happen. They had a flash of spark with Hobbs, but that was just a flash of spark. The NFL catches up with you. And when these defensive coordinators start looking at film and seeing what quarterbacks like to do, they take it away. And that's why, these guys are backups. The great ones and the good ones know how to adjust. But it's going to be a quarterback carousel for the rest of the season. I believe he's going to give it to whoever has the hot hand.
We were talking about before we came on air, the Jets and the Commanders. You are a Commanders fan, and I had been saying all year, go with Jacoby Brissett. Finally, they've done so. They look a whole lot different.
They do. He's a veteran. And he in his press conference today, he already said he was familiar with the offense because they ran a similar offense in Indianapolis when he was the starter. So he
Okay.
already kind of had a head start coming into it, and I didn't know that. So it's things that I'm starting to know now that he had experience in the offense, and he came here because he believed that he had a chance to be the starter. And we starting to see that Ron made a mistake of starting Hal. I believe we probably would have been in a playoff hunt right now if Jacoby Brissett was the starter.
I totally agree with that. The Washington Commanders would be heading to the playoffs today had they started the season with Jacoby Brissett. Go Commanders. All right, Cynthia. I hear you, Cynthia. I hear you. Okay, you guys can finish the year strong. I mean, that's no question about that. The Green Bay Packers over the Carolina Panthers, 33-30. The Packers barely got out of the state of North Carolina with a win. A half second too late were the Panthers in converting an overtime field goal. They lose that one. The Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco, 36-22 over the Texans. And all of a sudden, here comes Cleveland. Aaron, your thoughts?
Joe Flacco is retro. Retro Joe Flacco is back. He got them playing. They are a scary team going into the playoffs. So now Baltimore is the favorite in the AFC, I believe, at this point, since Kansas City has lost 2 back-to-back.
Yeah.
So now Baltimore better be better keep an eye on these Browns because they're not going to be a pushover.
No, they're not. Here they come at 10-5. Watch out for Cleveland. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 30-12 over Jacksonville. I am not a Baker Mayfield fan. I'm not going to crown Baker. But Tampa's looking like a playoff team. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but the problem with them is they just haven't been consistent enough. They're playing well down the stretch, and but I mean I don't see them making them noise if they able to sneak in the playoffs.
Oh, no. The only noise you'll hear is them boarding the plane back to the they may sneak into the playoffs. You never know. Chicago, 27-16 over the Cardinals. They're playing a lot better with Justin Fields. The Dolphins in probably the game of the week. That was a very, very good game, 22-20, Miami over Dallas. The Patriots 26-23. As a result of this win, the Broncos, Sean Payton has decided to bench Russell Wilson in favor of Jason Stidham.
And Russell Wilson is due $36 million next year.
I don't understand the thinking in that unless Denver's saying, hey, the season's over. Let's start thinking about next year. Because Jason Stidham's not your guy. I can go ahead and tell you that right now.
He's not. He is not.
And I have to believe that Sean Payton is smart enough to know that. They got to be packing it in. The Raiders, in the shocker, I would probably say, of Week 16, 20-14 over Kansas City.
That was the shocking game of the week to me. I had the Chiefs still going into the AFC Championship game against the Baltimore Ravens. But I'm not sure now. They have a lot of problems over there. And now we talk about Eric Bieniemy and his effectiveness he had on that offense. And now I believe we're starting to see it.
Yeah.
We're starting to see it down the stretch and what he had on that offense. And this accountability, he had I always hear people say accountability. He held people accountable for the mistakes and the plays they made. So I see the effects of that, and I don't know if they're gonna make it to the AFC Championship game.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome to the show Antoine A.S. Stewart. You're watching the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks, Radio QDX in Lucama, North Carolina, and courtesy of KCHF TV 11 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Stu, welcome to the show, brother.
What's up, fellas? What's up, Mo and Aaron?
What's up, man?
So, your thoughts on the shocker of the weekend, the Las Vegas Raiders, 20-14 over KC.
Yeah, the Raiders came to play, man. I say this every week. Any given Sunday, anybody can be beat. You gotta execute. You gotta game plan and strategy involved. And the Raiders were the better team that night. I think we all know the Chiefs are a better team overall, but it only takes one night. And the Raiders were able to get it done. And Mahomes, he threw that pick in the end and kind of sealed the deal. So hats off to the Raiders for a great win.
The Philadelphia Eagles 33-25. The Giants were abandoned by Tommy DeVito. He said they had to deliver a pizza. And so they came up a little bit short there. But the Philadelphia Eagles did not look good in this game, even though they won. Didn't look good. Your thoughts, Stu?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a easy win. It wasn't. It was ugly win, but they got the
Yeah.
dub, against a division foe. Sometimes it's not gonna always be pretty. You're gonna get that ugly win. Giants definitely shouldn't have put 25 on the Eagles, but it happened. The thing that the Eagles do or tend to do more of that the Dallas Cowboys don't is they get it done for the most part. They're able to come back and get it done against these type of teams. So I definitely see the Eagles, everyone's trying to get that momentum going into the playoffs, and the Eagles did that with this win.
The game that we thought would be the game of the week potentially was Baltimore and the San Francisco 49ers. Final score, Ravens 33-19 over San Francisco. We're going to talk about this game a whole lot more in depth a little bit later, but it turned out that the Miami Cowboy game was the game of the week between two Titans, and the 49ers just did not give themselves an opportunity courtesy of Brock Purdy. And as I say all of that, Stu, that being your team, we're going to go to our NFL headline segment. And I'm just going to put it over on your plate here and allow you to address this. Have the 49ers finally been exposed? And is Brock Purdy their weakest link?
Nah. Exposed? Nah. I mean, we lost. Hats off to the Ravens. They were the better team that night. We got out coached. We got outplayed on both sides of the ball. We got out hustled. It's the crazy thing is when you look at the stats, we were leading the stats in almost every category, from rushing to passing yards to everything. We were leading in all the stats, but the stats don't make up with what I saw. We got out coached, we got outbeat. No excuses made. We didn't play our best game. And like I said, and I'm on record saying this before when you were saying, can the 49ers be beat? And I said, absolutely, we can be beat. Any given Sunday, you got to go out and put your best on the line. And if you don't, this is the outcome. I'm just happy that this happened now, because I personally believe that this will be our Super Bowl. The way the Ravens have been playing and the lack of playing that you see from the teams we're used to seeing, like the Chiefs and stuff like that, I think this may be the year Lamar Jackson can go to the Super Bowl. And with that type of performance, I would rather see that in the regular season than in the postseason. We all know the history of Lamar Jackson in the postseason. He's the regular season champ. Can't get it done in the postseason. Is this the year he's going to get it done? We'll have to wait and see. But definitely, as far as being exposed, you got two good teams, and we didn't get it done. As far as Brock Purdy is concerned, he's leading the league in every quarterback stat, except for number 2 at passing yards. I think 2 is number 1. So I don't think it's an exposure. He's been balling this year. He played a bad game. He threw 4 picks. 2 of those picks hit the receivers in the chest and then bounced up, and the defense made great plays. They were just ball hawks that night. 2 legit picks. He just shouldn't have thrown those balls, but it was definitely a lot, man. And one secret I'll let you guys in on is when Trent Williams goes down, We don't have the best offensive line. We mask it a lot. Trent Williams we're able to with blocking tight ends like George Kittle, we're able to put some help on them. Our right tackle sucks. I'm just gonna say that our right tackle is trash. And when Trent Williams goes out and they got to do that shuffle, it and you got them dogs clowning them. They was coming for Brock, and he made some bad decisions. I didn't like the play calling. I felt like we should have ran the ball. Even though McCaffrey still got over 100 yards, I felt like we should have put it on his shoulder. That was that type of game where let's just run the ball. Hats off to the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. They were phenomenal. They did their homework. I can't say anything bad about them. I'm just glad it happened in the regular season and not the postseason. But I think we'll be back. We got the Commanders this week, and I'll be at that game. And we'll be rooting for them to get this dub, and we close off with the Rams. But we'll be back.
Aaron Moore, your thoughts on the issue of the San Francisco 49ers losing the way that they did to Baltimore? Have they been exposed, or is Brock Purdy just their weakest link?
I'm not going to say he is a weak link, but I will say this. I think the Baltimore Ravens have shown other teams that equivalent to the Baltimore Ravens, they're gonna see in the playoffs. We cannot allow McCaffrey and Debo to beat us. If we're going to lose, allow Brock Purdy to beat us.
Okay, I like that.
Now, this goes back to Kyle Shanahan, and we know that MVP with Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy was up for debate with Christian McCaffrey as well. I think it's no hands down Lamar Jackson has proven that he is the MVP this year after that game. But Kyle Shanahan, I believe, tried to throw Purdy for the MVP, and it backfired in his face. This is my personal belief.
Okay.
He tried to give Brock Purdy that MVP that night, but it backfired. Instead of trying to put it in McCaffrey's hands, McCaffrey was having a great game.
Yeah, he was.
Having an excellent game. Why not, as Stu said, put it in McCaffrey's hands, put it in your playmaker's hands, and win the game?
Yes.
Hands down. Brock, I'm gonna say one more thing. Brock was not ready for that night. Lamar was.
No, he wasn't ready.
Lamar was.
Lamar was ready.
And this is gonna be a plus if they find a way to make it to the Super Bowl. The Ravens went in their house and beat them. So if they beat them in the Super Bowl, they're gonna be like, we beat them in our Super Bowl. I mean, in that house, so we could beat them in the Super Bowl as well. But I'm just saying, for the rest of the playoffs, other coaches, it's a copycat league. Let's focus on McCaffrey. Let's focus on Debo, and let's see if Birdie can throw them to victory. And as the ball hawking defense, the Ravens got, I'm saying, excellent defense that they have. They put pressure on Purdy. He was looking a little shook, and he made some mistakes. I mean, you can't do that in games like that. But that's my recipe for beating the San Francisco 49ers is put the ball in Brock Purdy's hands. And if he beat us, he beat us. If he don't, then he don't. But that's the best chance that you have beating them, because if McCaffrey gets off and Debo gets off, you're not going to beat him.
No, you're not going to beat him. My cousin is chiming in. I like that too. She agrees. What up, Hilda? So let me just say this. Let me just say this. I'm going to throw in my 2 cents. We're going to move to the next headline. But I think now, to your point about Trent Williams going down, and I said it, and I've said it a number of times on this show, the 49ers have to have everybody healthy. Trent got banged up, and Purdy also got banged up. And so now you're looking at a situation where they can't run the way that they normally do. But I also think that Purdy was not, as you accurately stated, Aaron. I mean, those guys were too athletic for Purdy to deal with. And they got in his head. And that's not something that we've seen from the 49ers this year. I expected the 49ers to blow the Ravens out of there. And it was the other way around. The Ravens came into their own place and blew them out of their own crib. So we learned some things, I believe, about what's happening in the NFL. Because as I say that, Aaron, we're looking at all these teams. We're talking about the 49ers. We've talked about the Cowboys and Lions being frauds. We talked about now the Dolphins being frauds. Now the Chiefs may be frauds. The Jags are frauds. You know, you're looking at who the Philadelphia Eagles look fraudulent. And now you're looking at maybe the 49ers being that invincible team that we thought they were. And I'm not, even though the Ravens did their thing, I know if you catch the Ravens at the right time with the right game plan, you could cause Lamar Jackson to implode similarly to what we saw happen to Brock Purdy and what we know will happen to a Dak Prescott. So my question to you guys is, in our next NFL headline, has the NFL become a league of fraudulent teams, Stu?
Now, I wouldn't say a league of fraudulent teams, but at this elite level, strategy is almost at the top. You know, these game plans that these coaches come up with and their ability to make adjustments on the fly is eminent to the success of your team. A lot of these teams, they got dogs on both sides of the ball. They got playmakers. That's why they're in the NFL. It comes down to, you know, the coaches having a game plan, making adjustments, and the execution of the players. And you know, if you don't execute, and I agree with Aaron 100%. Cal, and he does this from time to time. That's the one thing that Cal is so good at what he does. Sometimes the arrogance gets in front of him. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen it in Atlanta. He felt like he didn't have to run the ball, and they had this. We've seen them make these type of mistakes before.
We've seen it.
Mind you, Christian McCaffrey ran for over 103 yards with only 14 carries and a touchdown. Why do you stop feeding that guy? You know, because it comes down to
all right. I think we're having an issue with Antoine Stewart's feed there. I'm going to flip the question over to you, Aaron. Are we dealing with a league of fraudulent teams in the NFL?
I'm not going to say it's a league of fraudulent teams. I'm going to say it's a league of great defensive minds and coaches that are finding the things that players like Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes and these elite players, what they do well, and try to scatter them and get them off their feet and make some mistakes.
Yeah,
and that's what they're doing. I mean, these defensive coordinators are very intelligent, and they know how to scheme up some things to get these players shook. And I think that's what we're seeing. I think that's what we're seeing throughout the league. I don't think it's fraudulent teams. I just think it's great game planning and great defensive calls. And I think the only person that I haven't seen nobody really stop is Tyreek Hill this year. I mean, he's been slowed down, but I don't think he ever been stopped. But yeah, I just think it's great defensive coaches and scheme. And like Stu said, it comes down to schemes. And what scheme best fit or the other team can't fit. That's why you see some teams, and that's why division games are so close all the time. It don't matter what the record is in division because the teams know each other so well.
So now we're looking at the New York Jets, who defeated your Washington Commanders by the skin of their teeth, by the way, 30-28 over the weekend. They had the game well in hand, 27-10. And the Commanders came back, almost got that thing, but they won it. And I've come to find out now that Aaron Rodgers has been activated. And so now the question is, and I'll throw it to you, Stu, should Aaron Rodgers return for a New York Jets playoff run?
Why not? You know, at this point, why not? You know, it's the
Yeah, why not?
NFL. You're always looking for great stories. A lot of people were kind of alluding to he didn't really have an Achilles injury, and he never really he didn't answer it. Kind of like he was like kind of beating around the question because it was just like I've never seen someone come back that quick from an Achilles rupture or tear. I'm not sure exactly what the injury is, but why not let Aaron come back? The Jets are 6-9. They got the Cleveland Browns coming up that are 10-5. Let's see if they can have a shot to creep into the playoffs. That'll be one of the biggest stories of the NFL is Aaron Rodgers coming back and leading the Jets into the playoffs. So why not? I say.
Aaron Too Tall Moore, your thoughts?
I don't think they'll make it in the playoffs if he come back anyway. I think it's and if he came back, especially against this Cleveland Brown defense, I don't think that would be a good look. I think he should just shut it down till next year. Get fully 100%. Get some more beef on that old line to protect them. To get a couple more weapons around him and see what he could do next year. The owner already gave the staff the go ahead that they coming back next year. So staff coming back next year, Aaron Rodgers coming back next year. So
look at yeah, exactly. I could agree with you more. I don't know what their thinking is in New York, but all of a sudden they've activated Aaron Rodgers. It looks like they may be positioning him to return to the field, and they're alive. The Jets are still alive, so you never know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers could actually return to the field, and I can tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers coming back to the wild card playoff weekend makes the Jets very, very, very dangerous. But again, just food for thought. We'll see what happens. They've got a big game coming up against Cleveland. And as I talk about Cleveland, they all of a sudden have become an intimidating force in the American Football Conference at 10-5. Have the Cleveland Browns, Stu, in your mind, with Joe Flacco, suddenly become an AFC power?
Oh, they definitely are a team to respect. You know, I think everyone saw that when they played the 49ers. Their defense is for real. They got talent on both sides of the ball. They just need them a point guard to get it done. And Flacco stepped in, and his deep down the field passing and stuff like that. And he's had a lot of time to rest, and he seems ready to go. Man, it's actually an exciting story, especially with Flacco's history. You know, with the Ravens and winning the Super Bowl there, and him playing on their rivals, the Cleveland Brown, and heating things up. He definitely has the team around him to get it done as long as he doesn't go lose the game. But Flacco has been balling 368 yards, 3 TDs. He did throw 2 picks, but he's been letting it rip. So hats off to the vet. And I'm excited to watch the Cleveland Browns.
Aaron Moore, your thoughts?
I totally agree with Stu. I think they're gonna be a powerhouse when they get into this playoff run. Retro Flacco, he got him playing, man. He got him believing too. He got him playing. He got him believing. And with this defense and with Flacco making plays, I mean, he may throw a couple picks, but he gonna throw some touchdowns too. And only thing he has to do is get this team a lead, man. He get this team a lead, and I believe they could beat anybody.
So we were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and the shocker of the weekend at Arrowhead Stadium and losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. And now you look at the Raiders and Antonio Pierce. The question is, has Antonio Pierce done enough to be considered as the permanent head coach for the Raiders? Stu?
I think if he can win out the rest of the season, I think that it'll definitely be a big chance that he'll be that. I think as far as the ownership and the GM, or whoever's in charge right now, they have to do their due diligence, and I would interview the players, see what the players think of him. But I think the players love him. He seems like he has quickly gotten the respect of the locker room. Seems like the players love playing for him. And in my personal opinion, I think he is the leading candidate in getting the head coaching position there. And if they went out, I think that he's earned it.
Aaron Moore, your thoughts, sir?
I think he already earned it.
Yeah.
He got these boys competing and playing hard. I don't see why you wouldn't bring him back for 4 years to get the staff he really wants to get in there. If he wants to bring some new people in, or just to get his people in there, run it the way he wants to run it, because this is a makeshift. You know what I'm saying? He just stepped in and took over. It's hard to do that. You see what Jeff Saturday did last year when he tried to do it. What happened to him? He had one big win, and after that, they had one big win, one jolt, and after that, they faltered. So it's not easy what he's doing. But he got these boys playing and believing, even when they out of it too. It's not like they're going to the playoffs or anything. They out of it, but they still playing hard for him. They still playing. They still want to win. I think he should come back for it.
I would agree, and you're right. They're not going to the playoffs, and anytime you see teams over there in the hunt area, they're not going anywhere. Now, I want to say this. I do want to say this. We were talking about Mike Tomlin. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there were even some former Steeler players that were saying maybe Mike Tomlin needs to go. And all of a sudden, boom. Here they come. They humiliate a team we were starting to think might look pretty good until Joe Burrow got back and destroy the Bengals 34-11, and they did it with Mason Rudolph. Is Mason Rudolph, perhaps, guys, I'd throw the question out, the answer for the Steelers under center, and were we too quick to write off Mike Tomlin? Stu?
Yeah, I don't know if Rudolph is the answer. I think they're gonna rock with young Pickens, but I never would write off a coach like Mike. He's a phenomenal coach, even on their down years when he gets all the the people chirping. They finish 500, or they finish slightly above 500. I don't even remember the last time they had a losing season. So that shows you the type of coach he is. And me personally, I think Big Ben was hating a little bit. I don't know what their relationship is, but Mike, I haven't seen anything to say I'm going to replace him, because even when things aren't going the right way, they still finish 500. So he knows. I think this was to show you that he still has control of that locker room, that his team, the people in it, the men in that locker room respect him as the head coach. He's a player's coach, and he's always been that way. And I think that he'll be a Steelers coach for the foreseeable future.
Aaron, your thoughts?
I don't think Mason Rudolph is the future. I still don't know about Pickens. I don't know about him. Some people say he is the quarterback of the future. I'm not sure about that, but I think Mike Tomlin, what he has done over the course of his career there, it was 17, 18 years and never having a losing season is just remarkable. And I don't see why would you get rid of a coach like that when it's so hard to find a coach. You're going to see all these coaches get fired at the end of the season. So many vacancies going to be open. He'll get picked up in a second. So I don't understand why would you do that in Pittsburgh. I just think he needs to find his quarterback. I think that's the only really thing that he's missing. If he finds a quarterback that could get it done for him, I think they're going to be back in the mix.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on Bog Radio, NFL edition, in association with 24 Flicks. We welcome in Radio QDX out of Lucama, North Carolina, and also courtesy of KCHF TV 11 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're going to look at our NFL Power 5 segment, and we're going to start out with the American Football Conference. And I have the top 5 listed as follows: Baltimore, squarely number 1, followed by Miami. Cleveland, welcome Cleveland to the big boy table. And we'll finish the list off with Buffalo and Kansas City. Stu, your thoughts?
I think that's a perfect list. Looking at these standings, I think that definitely Baltimore showed that they are the #1 team and not just the AFC. But right now, I give them the title in the league. I have it just the way you have it, Mo.
Aaron.
I can't disagree with that. I agree with that top 5, and I actually agree with it in that order at the moment. And yeah, I have no disagreement with that order.
So we roll over to the NFC, the National Football Conference, and I have the Power 5 listed as follows, with San Francisco, even still, remaining as #1 in the NFC, followed by Philly, Detroit, Dallas, and the LA Rams. Pretty much identical to last week. Stu, your thoughts?
Again, I agree with that from top to bottom. I think those are the teams that we know. Those top 2 teams. You can't sleep on the Rams. Detroit has a chance to make their stake as well. We have 3 teams sitting at 11-4 with the I'm sorry. Is it 4 or 3? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 teams with Eagles, 49ers, and the Lions, all 11-4, battling for that #1 spot. So I agree with that, Mo.
Aaron, too tall more.
Same here. I agree with that too. Lions and Cowboys, I guess you could maybe swap them out or keep them the same, but I agree with that top 5.
I think you're looking at the Lions and Cowboys because they're going to settle matters.
Yeah, they're going to settle
over the weekend. Who's the bigger fraud?
Mm-hmm.
They'll settle that. I think what happened to San Francisco was an aberration. That's not the 49er team that you're going to see every week, certainly not in the playoffs. Philadelphia, I do think something's wrong right now with Philly. But just out of respect, I'm going to leave them at #2. And right now, again, you have to look at the LA Rams. Because now, if these big 4, and I do mean these 4, if they don't straighten their act up, a team like the Rams can knock them out the way that they're playing right now. So I'm going to go with that list. And as far as the NFL goes for the entire league, it's now the Baltimore Ravens. They're big dogs now in the NFL, followed by, they settled it on the field. So we'll go with Baltimore #1, followed by Frisco, still at #2. I'm going to put Miami at #3 because, like I said, I don't like the way the Eagles are looking, but I'll put them at 4, followed by Detroit to round out the list. Stu, your thoughts?
I like it. I might, if I'm being picky, I kind of like Buffalo a little better than the Lions, but the Lions, I believe, have a better record. But other than that, man, I totally agree with that list.
Aaron, too tall more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Stu, I might I agree with it. I think Buffalo still got something to prove. A little bit to prove. I might swap out the I agree with it just like that. That's fine.
I think Buffalo still has something to prove. They're kind of like the AFC version of Detroit. They are a team that you can't count on. We know what they're capable of. We know what the Lions are capable of. But Jared Goff and Josh Allen both, they'll give a game away. They'll just give it away. Much like Purdy did on Monday night against the Ravens. I mean, you take those, no one's going to win with more than 2 picks in a game. And Purdy threw 4. So we really didn't get a chance to see the 49ers do what they do. And so this is what Goff and Allen do on a regular basis. They live in that world. So I don't know if I would have put Buffalo in that top 5 or not. I need to see a little bit more evidence that they can rock, more consistently than they have. Let's look at some of the games coming up for week 17. And I talked about this a little bit a moment or two ago. On Thursday night on Prime Video at 8:15, this has all of a sudden become a playoff type game. The New York Jets go to Ohio to take on the Cleveland Browns. Stu, your thoughts on this matchup?
Is A-Rod playing?
Last time I checked, no, they're going with Trevor Siemian.
I think the Browns are going to go ahead and handle business at home. I think they would need an A-Rod arrival to the field in order to get a dub. Jets defense is tough, but the Browns defense is tough, and the way they're playing right now and the way Flacco's throwing that thing, I'm gonna have to go with the Browns at home.
Okay, Aaron Moore.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Browns. It's gonna be a dog pound type of game, man. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be loud, and I don't think Trevor Siemian is gonna be ready for that type of atmosphere. And not only that, what's on the line too.
And I think that's what makes this game intriguing, just because of the implications. Like, the Jets are still squarely alive, and the Browns are playing very well. It's in Ohio. It will be cold. And the one thing that we do know about the Jets is they hit. And when it's cold outside, you get a bruising game. So that would be the only chance I would give the Jets at having a shot, in that this will be a physical game. It's just the kind of game the Jets want to play in that atmosphere. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Saturday night, another big game, a heavily implicated playoff game where the Detroit Lions visit the great state of Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys on ABC, ESPN at 8:15. Stu, your thoughts?
I definitely believe a team wearing blue will win this game. I just don't believe. I don't believe it's going to be the one with the star on the helmet.
Okay.
I got Detroit going on the road, getting it done. The Cowboys, I don't know what's going on with them. They had that one game against Philly when they were like, we're back, and then we haven't seen them since. So I'm going with the Detroit on the road.
Aaron Too Tall Moore.
I've been saying all season that Jerry World has been fluke. And people didn't believe me when they was all high on Dallas, but now they should be coming down to earth. They just can't get up to these type of games. But Detroit, now I would say that Dallas is undefeated at home this year. They haven't lost a game yet at home.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to change on Saturday night.
Well, here's the thing. And again, I want to make this clear. We're talking about two fraudulent teams. Now the Cowboys are 0-2 off of a very tough road game swing. Okay, losing to two powerhouses, one of which they had a great shot to win, but they came up short. And now they're coming home. And I can see Jared Goff just giving the game away. I mean, he sees Micah Parsons one too many times, and he's going to throw a couple of picks. And there goes your ball game. And you know, when it rains, it pours on Detroit. You know, everybody can just go to the car now. This thing's over. Ma, where you got the keys, Ma?
But here's the key. Here's the key, Mo.
Yeah.
Can the Detroit Lions weather the storm? If they could weather the storm, because Cowboys gonna come out hot. They're gonna come out burning. But can the Detroit Lions just weather the storm? Let them get that out their system, keep the game close, make a couple big plays in the second half to take it over. But if they could weather the storm and keep it close, I think they're gonna take it.
Well, it's going to be an interesting game. Again, you're talking about two fraudulent teams, and I mean, it could go very well, you know, in Dallas's favor or Detroit's favor. You know, which team is going to blink first? And I will say, Goff has a tendency to do that. I mean, if it gets too hot in the kitchen, Goff's going to give that thing up. he just going to give that thing up, dude. And Dallas is that kind of place. You know what I mean? They get hyped at that joint, you know. And Micah Parsons starts crawling around like a lion and whatnot. He's done. Jared Goff is going to have to prove it to me that he can deal with all of that. But it's going to be a good matchup. Certainly a game worth staying up and watching on Saturday night. We'll go to Sunday as Week 17 matchups continue. The Patriots and the Bills at 1 p.m. on CBS. The Falcons and the Bears at 1 o'clock. The Raiders, Colts, Rams, and Giants. Cardinals take on the Eagles. The Saints take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here's a game that shouldn't be really that important. I mean, you're talking about the NFC South up for grabs here. And just for laughs and giggles, Stu, your thoughts on this matchup?
I believe that which one, Saints and the Bucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Bucks. I believe the Bucks are playing better than the Saints are right now. You know, it's they kind of mirror each other. But I'm gonna take the quarterback for the Bucks, and he got some dogs on the outside. He got a great coach and everything. So I'm gonna take the Bucks in this one on the road. I mean, I'm at home.
Aaron Tuttle Moore, your thoughts on this matchup for the NFC South?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Baker Mayfield and the Bucks out on this one. I think they're gonna come out to play. They're at home. I think they're going. I think Baker Mayfield is gonna play well in this game, and I think they're gonna take it.
I would favor Tampa Bay in this one. They're in Florida. The Bucks have been playing pretty good. As much as I hate to admit it, Baker's been playing pretty good football this year, and they have a great shot to win the NFC South. I'll go with Tampa Bay as we continue with Week 17 matchups. The Panthers take on the Jags at 1 p.m. also on CBS. Maybe the game of this particular weekend will be Miami and Baltimore outside of Dallas and Detroit. Miami travels to Baltimore in a pretty big matchup here. Stu, your thoughts?
Oh yeah, that's going to be an exciting game. In my opinion, it may be more exciting than the Cowboys game. But I'm going to take the Ravens at home. Don't get it twisted. Miami definitely has the power on the firepower on the offense to go ahead, and Tyreek has been playing lights out. You know, another MVP candidate. They could definitely make that one of those games. But the way Lamar has been playing lately, you know, I definitely got to give it to the Ravens. The way he's developed as a quarterback, the way he's matured as a quarterback. I know we have yet to see that in the postseason, but in the regular season, the way he's taking his shots down the field, running when he has to, sliding, just a complete quarterback and a nightmare for defenses. I'm going to take and the way that the Ravens defense has been playing. Clowney and company have been getting after the quarterback, and you know, Tua, we don't want to see him throwing up no gang signs or anything this week. I hope that O
We don't
line
want to see
protects
that.
him.
Yeah.
Because he will hold on to that ball a little long, and you don't have that type of time against that Ravens defense. So I'm going to take the Ravens at home.
Aaron Moore, your thoughts on this matchup? Great matchup.
Mo, I know Commanders ain't playing for much, but you ain't have to skip us.
Well, look, hey, dude, you guys are playing. Listen, you guys are playing an angry 49er team coming into Washington. Now, if you start, okay, just for grins, if Jacoby Brissett is your starter, what do you really think about that game?
So Jacoby Brissett is starting.
Okay,
so he's starting for the remainder of the season. I mean, his last two games. So he's starting. So I mean, the offense is going to look totally different than what it did with Sam Howell. I think Bieniemy is going to give Brissett total control. What I mean total control is if he goes to the line of scrimmage, he sees something he don't like, he could change it.
Yeah,
I don't think Howell had that control, or now I ain't gonna say control, but understanding of the offense to do that. Where Brissett does, or Brissett can go to the line and he sees something, he changes it without you know, what's the word? Without
Eric's permission.
Without permission from Bieniemy. You know, so I think the offense is going to be better. We're not going to be in predicaments where we put the defense in bad situations. I think the 49ers is going to have to, you know, drive the field to score. What's they most capable of doing against our defense. Our defense haven't been playing well, but I don't see a 42-10, 31-7 football game. You know, I see a 27-14, 21 21-10. I mean, it's not going to be nothing crazy blowing out game. I just don't see that with Brissett playing.
Mo hit it on the head, though.
Well, I mean, the reality is the 49ers are going to be angry. And I think they're coming in to prove something and to try to get that taste out of their mouth from the other night. And unfortunately, the Commanders have to pay. Now, I don't mean anything personal, Aaron. I'm just saying that, they're going to come in pretty upset. And listen, I'll say this. I will say this in defense of the Commanders. I will say this. There may be a possibility this is the wrong time for the 49ers to catch the Commanders.
It may be.
I will give you that because I do like Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Commanders are better than their record. And so
I would say this.
Yeah.
I would even as good as the Jets defense was, Brissett picked them apart.
Yeah.
With ease.
Yeah.
It wasn't a doubt.
Yeah.
The defense looked totally different. They didn't look like that defense when Brissett was in the game. That's all I'm saying.
Well, no, I hear you.
And I will say one more thing. When Brissett got in the game, our defense, 49ers just hit my computer.
Yep. Yeah. They got some 49er fans outside your house, Aaron.
Yeah, they
be careful.
Our defense even played better. I mean, do I expect us to win? No, I don't expect us to win.
We putting over 30 in this game. Over 30.
Y'all probably would, but I think we'd put up some points too.
Because
we have nothing to lose. That's
you have nothing. You have nothing to lose. You're in the nation's capital, and again, I think you have a rejuvenated squad because of the guy that's under center. Because the team's better than the record. And I will say, it might not be the best time in the world for the 49ers to catch the Commanders. I'll give you that. Aaron, you good now, bro? You get it everything. You get it all out.
I'm gonna say one more thing.
Okay.
These last two games, I don't know which one it is.
Yeah,
we're gonna win one of them.
Okay, we gotta play last.
49ers or Cowboys. This is gonna be one of them.
Yeah. Man, I'd love to see y'all knock the Cowboys off. I would love to see that. But that being said, Miami and Baltimore, I think with the Dolphins going in to Baltimore, the one thing I've noticed about the Ravens is when they're at the crib, when they're playing on their field, if you are a team that's really not about that work, they'll expose you. I mean, the Ravens will absolutely destroy you if you're not about that work. And the Dolphins are not a physical, tough team. They're good, but they're not physical. And if you're not physical, you don't stand a chance against Baltimore. And I just think, it looks good on paper. Great matchup. We're looking at the potential for a blowout, quite frankly and honestly. But we'll see. Maybe the Dolphins will have something for them. The Titans take on the Texans. I don't know if C.J. Stroud is coming back. Their playoff hopes are dimming with every game he misses. At 4:05, the Steelers take on the Seahawks, two potential playoff teams. 4:25, the Chargers take on the Broncos. And I think, as we talked about earlier, Sean Payton and the Broncos look like they put up the white flag. They're going with Jason Stidham. They decided to bench Russell Wilson. The Bengals and the Chiefs, both of these teams, this is a big game on paper. Both teams have something to prove here. The Bengals were blown out, but they still have playoff hopes. And the Chiefs have got to get their ship righted because they're going in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be at 4:25 on CBS. And then the nightcap has my Packers taking on the Vikings. Not a whole lot to say there. So with that being said, guys, we're going to skip on out of here. It's been a great show. I'll tell you, I'm really ready for the games coming up this weekend. I think we're going to find out a lot about playoff positioning. And honestly, I think the Detroit Lion-Dallas Cowboy matchup, I think that might be the game of the weekend.
Yeah.
Stu, your thoughts?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's either a toss up between that game and the Baltimore game and the Miami game. But I definitely think that both of those games. 'Cause one thing about Dallas, and we know that the Dallas is undefeated at home, but we also know what Dallas tends to do and against good teams. Uh, Even though they're both in the fraudulent category,
Yeah.
Detroit is they're definitely playing for something. The Cowboys are playing for something. When those both of those teams are playing for something, usually the Cowboys gonna take a L. When they're not playing for something, that's when the Cowboys show up for whatever reason. But I definitely think that should be the game of the week. I think the Miami game, with Tyreek and company, the way that offense gets going, they definitely can make it interesting. But I think you point out a great point that the Ravens are a physical team, and you don't playing that finesse ball. It can only get you but so far. But so I definitely got the Ravens at home. But it's some great football this week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Aaron Moore, your final thoughts, sir.
Yeah, I do believe that's the game of the week. I'm gonna tune in for that one. I think I want to see Detroit upset Dallas and see Stephen A. come on again on First Take. And
I love it when Stephen A. comes on. I love it.
Yeah, but that's the game of the week for me, and I'm intrigued to see the outcome of that one.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Week 16 in the books, heading for week 17. You're listening to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks and Radio QDX out of Lucama, North Carolina, and also KCHF TV 11 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, courtesy of those good folks out there. I'm ready for the games, and I think this whole thing kicks off, like I said, and the Thursday night game with the Jets and Browns. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be out there, especially if he knows what's good for him. So with with all of that being said, guys, thanks so much for being on the show. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you guys. And also, most importantly, may the peace of Christ be with you and your families. God bless you.